Welcome back to another episode of the KJP, the KGP show. To this show, I have a working title, KJP, or the KJP. I don't know. It's still in work. It's still in progress. I'm still settling with it. But welcome back, nonetheless. Thank you for joining me. Today, with this video, I really wanted to discuss, before I go any further, and what my goals were in the prior video, what I hope to do and accomplish. I thought I'd set some parameters of some of my metrics or some of my ideas where I was talking about reviews and how I'd be analyzing things. I'd obviously be going into much more detail rather than just giving a score or giving a letter or whatever. But I figured at the end of the day, I will be putting some level of a metric of some kind, and I would feel like my thoughts in the video will be justifying that along the way. And so I've kind of put together something that I would like to follow. This is my initial attempt at it. We'll see how I feel about it as I go in practice, but I think it's a tried and true method. It's nothing new, but I'd like to at least explain it as it pertains to how I feel and maybe describe it to some degree. So, without further ado, I'll kind of go into it. So, this is my review scoring metrics explained. And so I kind of just really adopted what I grew up with in school, which is like the grading metric to some degree. I believe it's like the 20-point scale. And I've just adjusted it. So instead of 1 through 20, it's just 0 through 10. So you'll go, and then I have a grade associated with those numbers. So 10, 9.5, and 9 will be an A. And so what an A represents would be something that's fantastic, something that I highly enjoyed, something that I resonated with strongly. And I had a few notes over here on the side. So if you ever see me glancing, that's kind of what I'm doing. If I have this in video, or when I have this in video, I'm gonna do an audio. This is a tangent now. I'm gonna do an audio only form at some point, but primarily gonna start with video. So yeah, 10, 9.59 is fantastic, highly enjoyed, resonated strongly with me personally, whether it was just a resounding, amazing experience, or I think it's something that's very personal to me that I'm like, like a wrestling game may not be for everyone, but for me, it was amazing if it hits all the right things that I would look for. So I would save those scores in that letter for what would it be falling under. Next, I would have 8.5, 8, 7.5, and 7. Maybe if I put this over here, it won't look as weird. 8.5, 8, 7.5, 7 for strong, very much enjoyed, have some noticeable criticisms, but overall good experience. Yeah, just something that's very solid, just not like at that perfect or that amazing level. Some little things always would hinder it from reaching that. So it's kind of like, if enough of those add up, then I would put something in those range of numbers and give it a B score. And so yeah, that's a pretty, I think, explains itself. As I think this next one's for a C grade, which would be 6.5, 6, 5.5, or 5, is something that's just okay. There could be things where it's like some good concepts or ideas, but overall it like lacks that extra emphasis or oomph or something. Too many criticisms get in the way of a good thing, or too many missed opportunities. If it's got all the makings of something solid, but it's missing just one too many things, then I'm just gonna be like, this is okay. This is a C. So that's what I have for that. Then we're gonna go into the letter D. I feel like I'm on Sesame Street at this point. With D, I think it's almost the inverse of a B. It's lacking. It's overall not fun. It's missing. Overall experience is very poor, with some maybe little moments or bits of value or merit found sprinkled in. Yeah, I think overall that would be 4.54, 3.5. And then anything below a 3.5, 3, 2.5, 2, 1.51, 0. That's just very bad, not good, unacceptable, nothing positive about the experience. It's weird to me because I think this one's going to be the hardest one where I put something between that larger spectrum of like 0 to 3 point. Excuse me. Excuse me. I feel like if I feel that way about anything that falls in this range, what's the difference between anything? I feel I may just how strongly I feel about it. If I feel very frustrated, like it really pissed me off or whatever, I think that would then lower the intensity of it. Is just kind of what that would probably fall under. As I was kind of like thinking through it and going through that experience and just the thought of it at this point, I think, yeah, it's levels of intensity for these scores. So, um, a strong A, yeah, I don't know, just take it however you want to interpret it, but yes, it's like that. And then I would go through and just describe through the video, what my feelings are in further detail, but then I would end with my score being A, B, C, D, or F with a value as well. Maybe one day. I mean, but part of this is just kind of like, again, I wanted to just set parameters, set some expectations. If I ever give scores, or whenever I give scores, which I'll be doing hopefully in the upcoming videos, um, then there's a video you could refer back to. You could always go back to this and be like, what does it mean for him when he says this? And I, depending on how the feedback is given, or if I don't explain it well enough, I could totally go back and revisit this and give better explanation. I feel like through practice and through experience, I'll better understand the nuances of it. I think prior to this, just to give some context, and now that I've given my explanation, this is kind of like the footnotes. Whenever we did this on my prior show on the weekly DLC, where we talked about things, I would like to have some nuances of what aspects of the games I'd like to talk about. I don't think there's certain things that haven't really ever resonated with me, like you could break things down into visuals, gameplay. That I don't know yet how that would be how I would want to describe games. I think overall, I just want to talk about the experience. Whether it be if a game is solely single player, I'm not going to give it a multiplayer score. If it's if it's visual, I wouldn't be giving a gameplay or sorry, a visual kind of score on a lower end if it's a new game, but it's like Return of the Obra Dinn, where it's not as visually compelling as like a Cyberpunk or a Red Dead Redemption 2 or something. I think there's more nuance to it, and so I would rather just keep it, like I said in my initial video, much more conversational. How that individual package, how how that combination of items comes together to create an experience. And I guess I'll find ways in which my categories kind of come into play. I'm sure. I mean, financial, like the cost of a game is a factor in different people's experience. But that also is weird now because we have so many different ways in which you could be paying for a game. Did you get it through a Steam sale? Maybe that's part of like a score, like a factor in the score. Game Pass has so many games under their belt, so it's like, do you even have to worry about that if this game is under that? You may not, because I don't have Game Pass. So I think that's where it'll get different, and I'll kind of try to navigate. But the end results, what I'm hoping gets captured by whatever I feel about that game, will be captured, or movie, or whatever I review, will be captured by this metric, which is pretty standard. It's not anything new by the stretch of the imagination. It's been done for a long time. But I will, like I said, I'll adjust as needed. So that's my review scoring metrics. If you have questions or thoughts, let me know. I'd love to hear as I go down this journey what this could evolve into. But I think this is a good starting point for me. So we'll give it a shot, see how it goes. And until next time, thank you for joining.